Hello everybody, my name is Sachin Bhandari and I'm also known as Eccentric Sachin. This is my YouTube channel The Story Co, which also happens to be my coaching and training firm. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about viral videos. Isn't that what all of us want? Whether you are a marketer or a founder of a startup, a CEO, CMO, all of us want viral videos because we live in the video world. Now, it's easier said than done because coming up with great content ideas, then putting them in production and eventually being able to distribute them to a large audience is not an easy task. Now, yes, it is not an easy task, but I have someone who's going to help you, and that someone is not me. I'll be pretty honest that all these ideas and tips that I'm suggesting in this video have been directly taken from Aashish Chopra's fantastic book called Fast, Cheap and Viral. And before I even start, I'd like to tell you that if you have the time, please go ahead and buy that book because it will teach you a lot about creating great content for cheap and also in making it go viral. So with that, let's jump straight into the tips. Ashish talks about the fact that coming up with great content ideas or great ideas is the first step in being able to creating viral or really good video content. Now, it's not easy to come up with content ideas. I understand. I struggled with that myself. I'm sure some of you have too. When you look at the screen, you want to write something, come up with an idea, it just doesn't come to you, right? Now, Ashish says that the first thing that you need to remember is that the mantra is ask yourself whether an idea that you're coming up with is it share worthy. Share worthy would mean that the idea connects with people, people relate to it, and they want to share it with others so that either they get informed, inspired, emotive, or they get entertained through humor. Could be any of these reasons, but it needs to be share worthy. After that, he also is nice enough to give us a framework from his experience of creating one viral video after another. The framework is called IUTC. I stands for Inspirational Content. That is where, let's say our company could make a video 10 inspiring startup founder stories because we like our audience, startup founders and everybody else who are professionals. So it would fit right in with what we do, but at the same time would be of interest to our audience as well. That's inspiring. Number 2 is that's useful content. This video right now is a great example of useful content. I'm helping you, with content which is going to help you create better content or make your life better in one form or another. So that's useful. The third thing is celebration. Now think of your brand's audience, whether it's you're a travel brand, travelers, if you are StoryCo, then professionals, founders, CEOs, CMOs, all of these people, they have hundreds of different problems, but our brand or your product may be solving just one. And the ones that brands cannot solve through any other form of content, you can put them together and create celebration kind of content. So something like 10 problems only startup founders will understand. This is where you are celebrating the community, the problems of the community, getting together and having a good laugh about who you are, and that's how life becomes a tad better. T, which is topical, is something like newsjacking. Newsjacking is where you take a current trending topic or news, look at what your brand values or your product values are, merge them together and come up with an idea. So when Ixigo saw that President Trump had become the President of the United States, they just released a small video of a guy running from the United States towards the Canadian border. And that was enough because it brought together travel and something that was already trending, and that is IUTC, so topical. So that's the T part in this entire scenario. That's how you can come up with content ideas. And now we move to step 2. And the step 2 is production. How do you produce good quality content or good quality videos in this world of social media and smartphones? Clearly, most people are consuming content on their smartphones, so you need to think about smartphones while you're producing. You don't necessarily need deep production. A lot of video agencies will tell you that no, you need video production is a very time consuming and difficult process. Yes, it is for if you are trying to create something for Netflix or an OTT platform or even for the cinema. But when you're doing something that most people are going to consume on their smartphones, you probably could just use a regular DSLR, or like we are right now, you could just shoot on your smartphone, because the content idea and the information that you share is way more important than production value to the end audience. The other thing is to remember what aspect ratio you want. So if your content is going to be consumed on Instagram, on the posts, or on Facebook, or even LinkedIn for that matter, then the 1:1 aspect ratio works best. If it's YouTube, then it's 16:9, so on and so forth. So you need to remember where is that piece of content going to have the most amount of consumption and use the aspect ratio like that. Aashish also suggests to think of the rule of the selfie. So earlier in cinematic style of production, we would do the rule of third, but Aashish suggests to follow rule of selfie in this world, because the subject is in the center of the frame, and that is how people click selfies, and that works for videos as well. So that was about production. The book has a lot more tips about it. You should go and try it out. Now I'll move on to the third and equally important aspect, and that is distribution. And no matter how good a video or a piece of content is, if you aren't able to distribute it the right way, it is probably going to end up with a few views, and that is going to demoralize you, demotivate you. Well, I would say don't let that happen. Continue on the journey, keep learning, you will get better at it. But even though, let me suggest a few tips from Aashish's book. He says that you should map out when you're going to launch the video to your community. So think about the time that your community, your friends, family, your target audience, your loyal customers, your network partners, etc. are going to be available to watch the video. Launch at that time. Give it an initial push with them. Aashish even narrates the experience at Ixigo, at his employer, where they would launch their videos on Thursdays at 5 p.m. With the employees. They would have video launch parties, and everybody was supposed to forward, share, like, comment on the videos, and that is how it would get the initial push before it would go on to the wider world. So that's about mapping into the community. The second part is the distribution plan. Now this is plain and simple, though it needs a lot of work, is to put together a list of community pages on Facebook, on Instagram, or everywhere else, and even websites, like PR, so that you can send out your piece of content to them. But don't just dump the content on them in DMs. Put it in context as to why they would want to use that piece of content for their readers. Why is it interesting for them? Because if you just dump it on them, most likely they are going to ignore it. So these are some of the tips and ideas in Aashish's book, Fast, Cheap and Viral. The book stays true to its promise. It really has tips on how to create fast, cheap and viral video content. I would recommend the book to each and every one of you. I guess that's it from me in this video. As far as the StoryCo is concerned, we use the science of storytelling to help you discover and deliver your message in the most effective way. If you have any questions about storytelling, communication, pitching, etc., please feel free to ask us in comments. I will be happy to help you. Or also feel free to write to me at sachin@thestoryco.in. That's it from me in this video. I'll see you in the next one pretty soon.